Manashiksha, Manashiksha, can you sing a song for us?
No, please.
No.
I offer you.
Okay, no complaint.
Brother, I just want to tell everybody that all these paintings which are seen on the wall, she has made them. If anybody is interested in buy, contact her. Not me, her.
But today's last day, no? Last chance, no?
Yeah, she's leaving.
Vandeham Sri Gurum Siyudapada Kamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrayatam Shahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Shahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamahang vande shiguru dinataranam Bhaktiyavina aparadta lakshaiksziptas chakamadi tarangamadye kripamai tvang sharanam prapanam vinde namaste sharanara vindam Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Sri Namaha Savai Pung Sang Paro Dharmo Yator Bhakti Radokshaye Aitukiya Pratiyata Yata Yayatma Suprasidhati Shri Ramaj, please.
Now, we will go in a moment. Me and him, and then I will come back. I have to take you to the bus.
Acha. So Shushant, very nice to meet you. See you in Germany or on the way to Munich Mela.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Blessing.
Hare Krishna. Jai Jai Jai. Jai. Shushant is a Supreme Court lawyer from India, who's going to help to make the Jagannath temple open to the whole world. Give all your blessings.
We will meet in Germany.
Yes.
Yes.
Safe travel.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Maybe you come with Krishna Kirtan from Wroclaw.
Yes, I will talk to Krishna Kida also. Maybe you arrange that way that they will come together.
Yes.
So
So please, you come a little bit closer, and especially the young generation don't need to use the chairs, because some older people are coming. They should use the chairs. Younger generation means before 30, you know. Okay, sorry. Padaya Krishna Krishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Dhammahu Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavati Paskatya Nijatarini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavati Paschatya Nishatarini Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jayo Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Krishova Diva Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Krishova Jaki Nidai Jang Bamega Da 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 Shini Asachatra Dana Nikate Advaita Shini Asachatra Dana Kivavasi Achigura Chan Ratna Singh Gashani Siyache Gaura Chand Ratna Singh Gashani Aruti Kurena Brahma Adideva Murali Bharati Gorena Brahma Adi Deva Bhavani Shivanada Adi Adi Kori Chamara Ulaya Shivanada Adi Adi Kori Chamara Ulaya Shamjaya Mukunda Vashu Ushadigaya Mukunda Vasu Ushadigaya Kiva Chanka Bhaji Shanka Bhaji Bhaji Karatala Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the Harinam Sankirtan. All glories to the Gothenburg Yatra and all the devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and his divine family. All glories to all the beautiful deities around the world, receiving the devotion of their devotees. Om Ajnanatimanandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Shakshun Militam Jene Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kalamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Very happy good evening to all of you. Thank you for coming here, joining us in this night function. We are an aspiring family, and as such, we are aspiring family. As such, we have a great commitment with each other, trying to establish communication skills to the point of effective impact on the congregation or the community. Srila Prabhupada told us when he started opening temples, he said the temple president, he's actually responsible for the whole city he's preaching. He should feel, oh, this is my responsibility to do something good for Gothenburg. Or as the Vinda Mission in Sweden, to just do something good for Sweden. This is the appropriate consciousness. It's not something like, oh, the guy is so puffed up now he thinks he can do something for the whole world. No, it's not like that. It is a commitment, community building commitment. And this goes all the way back to the Mahabharata. Community building. That is what Yudhishthira Maharaj is doing. He's doing an appropriate community building together with Arjuna and under the leadership or the guidance of Sri Krishna. And Sri Krishna gives us the general guidelines how to do community building in his own treatise called the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is giving many instructions for administrators. It's actually giving us proper advice how to do something, how to develop a spiritual community. And our humble beginning here in Nimai Huset is nothing less than that. Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhakti Rakshita Maharaj are two saintly persons who have blessed the world. Srila Prabhupada especially because he came to the West, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj by giving great amount of divine instructions for the despaired disciples of Prabhupada after his departure. Very good news for all of you who may not know that this wonderful temple left by Srila Sridhar Maharaj called Chaitanya Saraswat Mat has just joined our University of Ancient Wisdom sector Chaitanya in India for increased spiritual studies. And this was just a new alliance which was created in my last visit to India with some very trustworthy and qualified Gaudiya saints who are taking also charge to look after this wonderful project called Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. So, community building means problem solving, providing a social infrastructure. Like, what is a temple if there's no prasada? Forget it. The people coming to eat prasadam and to hear the kirtan and to get some good advice also. But last not least, the prasadam. Prabhupada said that we can do our seva to humanity by distributing prasadam. That alone will have a lasting impact. I in the later time of my life, have had the great opportunity of distributing prasadam to the chiefs of natural people or of original First Nations priests of all kinds, chiefs of state, who came together in several meetings, and we were in the fortunate position to be their catering, to do the catering for them. Means they ate all Krishna Prasad with great joy. And not only that, they got attached to Krishna Prasad. So when they have meetings now, they call us, "Can you cook again?" And of course we go. It is our greatest honor to cook for such people. And this has also created a very positive energy towards a new re-evaluation of vegetarianism. What is the position of vegetarianism? What is the position of non-violent eating? Which is to us a great concern. We are of great, we think it's one of the most important things. As a matter of fact, the devotee, the first thing he asks another person when he comes into a conversation, "Are you a vegetarian?" If the other person says, "No, I'm not a vegetarian," then you go, "Oh God, we got to start all from scratch with this guy. He's still not understanding anything, you know." So in that sense, vegetarianism is the A of the BC. So we are doing this service. Prasadam distribution is a public service. It is actually doing everything possible that people can eat that type of food which has been offered to Krishna. And when they eat that food, they have a change of consciousness, a shift of consciousness. We all have experienced that. That's why we are here. A shift of consciousness coming from prasadam. And if you eat the prasadam in the company of the devotees, if you are so fortunate, then you become attached to the prasadam and you become attached to the company of the devotees. So the two things, they go hand in hand. And then you also start chanting Hare Krishna and you start developing a liking for chanting Hare Krishna. This Mahamantra becomes for you something very natural and joyfully to be chanted. So as you chant, there's a great transformation taking place. When you chant the name of the Lord, then all the negative influences of the previous samskaras, they become lesser and lesser important for you, and eventually you can actually overcome them. This overcoming one's samskaras is not a simple process. It does require an intervention in our favor of grace. And that's what it is. It's called sadhusanga. It is an intervention of grace in our favor. When we come in contact with those people who have made up their mind that they want to serve Krishna, that they want to be self-realized and they don't want to just hang around this world entertaining themselves, then they change the samskara. This is the fundamental moment when things start changing. And by that process, even greatly ignorant people have had the chance to transform into Bhaktivedantas. This has been also clarified and stated. Maybe I am a little bit too sensitive, or we should keep that door open because I think we have a lack of oxygen here with so many people in the room. Do you agree? Mm-hmm. So leave that door open, please. Because I cannot function without oxygen in my brain. Mm-hmm. Huh? It's coming to a slow collapse. Hmm?
Can open here.
Maybe for a moment we have to open this. We have to be careful at that cold outside, no? Yes, that's it. Effectively, I was already in a half trance state. Oxygen deprivation. So sadhu sangha is something you may say, well, what is this? It is a very concrete thing. You are associating with those who are dedicated to spiritual life. This has such an impact on your being, because last not least, we are imitators. We just imitate people in our life. From our childhood, we are always in the business of imitating somebody. So when we are in the good company, then we start imitating the good people. And then it will make something that, even though you don't know what it's all about, you start becoming some kind of a sadhu, or at least of a copy. And then gradually, you start developing a liking for that lifestyle, and then gradually you start understanding something. I mean, honestly speaking, I'm not a great philosopher of any kind, and the only thing which bothered me was the degree of injustice in this world. And I couldn't tolerate to live in a world simply of injustice, and there's no meaning to it, no sense. So I went on my searching for justice, really. And when I joined the Krishna conscious movement, I was attracted by the concept of karma, action and reaction. You can close it. By the concept of karma, that there is a reaction for any type of action, and that will definitely keep us in line. Sooner or later, we have to submit to that higher authority, because question is higher authority. Is there a higher authority or not? The question of authority is a very substantial one, because authority is not a fantasy. Authority is a fact. And if there's an authority, then you either obey to that authority or you pay the reaction for not obeying to the authority. But the fact is that there is authority, and you have to relate to that fact in one way or in the other. So I was looking for that justice. And when I learned that for that justice you have to, first of all, you have to become a vegetarian, I immediately accepted that. Yes, of course. And I couldn't understand how I didn't understood that previously, but anyhow, ignorance is ignorance, and awakening from ignorance is another thing. So, but when I joined the Krishna conscious movement, I was attracted by these people believe in the law of karma, and they act upon the law of karma. Because what's the use if you have people who are saying, yeah, I believe in the law of karma, but you do any damn thing anyway. And you don't have any real transformation of lifestyle, and no active involvement in society with some positive impact. So, but I didn't know what was Advaitavada. I didn't know what was Vivartavada. I didn't know what was Achinta Bhedavada. I didn't know anything. I could not even really understand anything about Siddhanta or theism. Of course, I had my upbringing at childhood that you prayed a little bit when you went to sleep at night. You prayed for the family or something. So I was brought up that, but that praying thing was over very soon, and nobody in my family prayed anymore. So basically, I was brought up principally without any prayer. So the whole conception of theism, it was not impregnated upon me. So I didn't know whether there was a divine energy, or if there was something higher, or even I didn't give much thought to it, whether God exists or it doesn't exist. because when I went through my socialistic time, that was definitely not a subject we were concerned with, whether God exists or He doesn't exist. So I didn't come to this movement because I had a great wisdom breakthrough and here, there's the people, they know the philosophy. By their way, I'm going to live. At least not me. Maybe Maharaj came as a wise guy, or maybe somebody else, but I definitely did not. So what did I come for? Well, I was attracted by the devotees. I was attracted by these people believe in the law of karma. And then gradually I started understanding, wow, how much do they know? How much Siddhanta is there? How much information about the universe, about the avatars, about the the interactions, the psychology, everything. And it is so wonderful that it still keeps unfolding. Even after 40 years of studying this philosophy, I still discover more beautiful things. This is an unending story. It is very amazing. The depth of the Vedic philosophy. If you're into philosophy, come and join us. You'll find more than you can handle. Huh? There's so much. If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata, it's just, it blows your mind. How much wonderful information and how much nurturing. Like you get nurtured for some very positive outlook on life because all the problems are dealt with. Like Queen Kunti. Queen Kunti is one Vedic queen. She suffered more than anybody. Anybody says, I suffered. Look what Queen Kunti went through. And she never gave up being a devotee, and she had a great realization. In the end, she was one of the main sages in the Bhagavatam of giving spiritual instructions. And so in this way, we are very fortunate that we come here. This is attracted by sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha is a very valuable ingredient. That's why one should definitely make a point of going to temples and associating with devotees. Even though it may not be easy and they may be just a few people and there may be pioneers. We have opened so many temples in our life, so many, and many temples start with one man or one woman. And then 2, and then 4, and then like that it develops. And I always welcomed that opportunity because necessity is the mother of invention. When you're really, really alone somewhere, then you really start practicing seriously because it's kind of unbearable to be alone. So you want to share this, what you're doing with somebody. So that is what you're doing. You're sharing, and that is Krishna's mercy, that you can do that. So, and we got all the hints, all the indications from our spiritual master, how to do that, how to practice or how to develop a spiritual community with beautiful commitments, because that's what it's all about, commitment. Just like a father and a mother, they have a commitment with their children. And that's impregnated upon them. They feel that by nature. You don't have to teach a mother to be a mother. A mother knows what it means to be a mother. And a father is supposed to know what it means to be a father. He also don't have to read big books about how to be a father. So there is something very natural in the genes or in the hormones or in the intuition, which gives people the right idea what it means to take care for somebody. Now, in our spiritual consciousness, we have something most beautiful, most extraordinary. It is called the invitation to become a brahmin. Those who are from India or those who know a little bit about India, they know that the Brahmin birth is a highly respected something. Nowadays people are getting a little bit mixed up because there's so many Brahmins who are not behaving like Brahmins, and then you start thinking, well, it's worth nothing, you know. But according to Prabhupada, a Brahmin is somebody. I will explain to you what is a Brahmin. Krishna says the Brahmin, he acts by qualities, no? Samo damas tapas saucham shanti achavam eva cha. The Bhagavad Gita said a Brahmin, he acts by very beautiful qualities such as peacefulness, such as self-control. He is very learned and he's also wise. He knows he has a proper criteria how to do things. A Brahmin is a natural leader. You can also call, Prabhupada used another word for that. He called it doctor of the soul, master of the mind. Your precious benediction is very hard to find. You make it very easy for all to understand. Your mercy has no boundary. Your kindness has no end. That gives you an idea. What is a Brahmin? He's really a great guy. And he opens the door of his heart to others. A Brahmin, he's somebody like, he's like the friend of all. Doctor of the soul. Are you sick? Are you need him some help? He's a natural coach. He's not somebody who's like waiting for a business. Or you have some problem like a lawyer nowadays, no? Oh yeah, very good, come here. I'll figure it out for you, making the problem bigger and then getting some money there. No, not like this. And also not like the doctors today, because the doctors today, mostly they're not very trustworthy either. So, some Dr. Mendelssohn, one of the chief doctors of the United States, he says, never ever go alone to a hospital. Always take a bodyguard. Yeah? And that means a family man who's trusted and who asks the question, what are you going to do with this guy? Why are you going to do that? What is the need for it? You have to be very cautious. Hospitals are the most dangerous places. So I'm not talking about any bogus Brahmin. I'm talking about a real Brahmin. You become a Brahmin by the association with the mantra. There's a mantra. It's called the Gayatri mantra. In Krishna consciousness, our Guru Dev, he confides in us. He gives us the trust to chant the Brahma Gayatri, and with the strength of the Brahma Gayatri and the proper association and the proper heart of yours, you become a Brahmin. You too. Anybody of us can become a Brahmin. And this is, Brahmin is, Krishna says, Guna Karma Vibhaga Sha. He says it is by quality and work, it is not by birth. Big misunderstanding in India. Oh my God. They really got it wrong at some point when they thought that you are somebody by birth. When all the scriptures and all the history of all the temples taught exactly the opposite. That the puffed up people in the temples, the puffed up pandas or whatever they are, they did not recognize that the devotion is the highest, and devotion is not depending on birth. In Udupi, for example, one of the most famous Krishna temples in India, Krishna doesn't look, he doesn't look through the door of the altar. The door of the altar is open, but Krishna is sitting with his side to it. You know why? Because they didn't let one devotee inside the temple. And that devotee was sitting outside crying and chanting. And Krishna turned around because there was a little cut amongst the stones. So Krishna went and he looked at that devotee. He didn't want to see all the rest of the big, powerful Brahmins. And I mean, they are big, powerful Brahmins, you know. Udupi is one of the most opulent temples in the world. But Krishna didn't want to see them. I mean, there's in Jagannath temple, in many temples, there are stories like that. Krishna is definitely a favorite. He's a favorite. He favors the devotion, the natural devotion of a person. So therefore, Prabhupada was so kind to start a school for Brahmins. And this is here, our Gothenburg sector of the School of Brahmins. So if you're practicing Krishna consciousness seriously, you get the Gayatri mantra and you become a Brahmin. And then you can, every day you can make your offerings to Krishna, and you can become a genuine doctor of the soul. And there's nothing more valuable than such doctors of the soul, especially when you have a diseased society. And so our society is very obviously very diseased. So if you want to become a doctor of the soul, just take up the name of Krishna, just take up the association of devotees, become a Brahmin, and enjoy to serve. Enjoy to serve others. It's very interesting. The Brahminical life is very interesting. Even though the Brahmins are generally a little bit poverty-stricken, they don't have much money usually. So why? Because they're always busy helping others, and they're not looking after personal business. That's why. But there's also a story for that, I will tell you. Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, they are the great devas, which are always talked about the Vedas. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the maintainer, and Lord Shiva is the destroyer of the universal affair. You know, you have to understand the universal affair according to the calculation of the time. It is such an immense thing that it only the wildest of the scientists of today, when they come into their speculation of when the universe may have been created, no? Only they come close to figures like the Vedas were giving long ago. So, so these amazing descriptions which are there about the universe, about time, about the soul, about the journey. So one of the conversations which was quite frequently, who's the greatest? Come on, Brahma, Vishnu, or Shiva? People want to know who is the greatest, because it's a kind of a thing in the world. We always want to know who is the greatest, no? It doesn't really work that way in the end, but still we want to know. It's a kind of competition spirit. So the demigods, they all met together and they asked, who is the greatest? Who's the greatest? They couldn't come to any conclusion. One person said, there must be Shiva because he finishes everything. Other person said, no, that destruction is very fast. Vishnu is maintaining all the time. So it must be Vishnu because he's doing the job all the time. And then the other said, but what's the use of maintaining if nothing was created? So it must be Brahma who is the greatest, no? So they were like shuffling forward and back. They finally said, no, we'll make an investigation. We'll make an investigation of who's the greatest, Brahma, Vishnu, or Shiva. So they asked Bhrigu Muni, Bhrigu Muni, can you make a test for us to find out who is the greatest? Will you be willing? Bhrigu Muni is a brother of Lord Shiva, a son of Lord Brahma. He's one of the Vedic rishis. So he was given the task to make the great test. So Bhrigu Muni said, okay, I'll do it. So first he went to Lord Brahma, his father. He walked into the assembly where his father was sitting, and his father said, Bhrigu, my son, oh, so nice to see you. And Bhrigu didn't look at his father, he just went and went his way. And Brahma said, hey, you stupid guy, where did you get your education that you don't say hello to your father? I will give you a slap. What kind of a naughty kid are you? Then he said, oh, Brahmaji, sorry. I was just making a test. It was just a test. Don't take my offense. And he greeted him appropriately. So that was the Brahma test. And then Bhrigu Muni went to Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is also son of Lord Brahma, so Bhrigu is the brother. So he came into the place where Lord Shiva, he was sitting, he was in deep meditation, and then he heard something, somebody has arrived. So Lord Shiva opened the ice and he saw his brother Brigo, and he got up, Brigo, let me give you a hug. And Brigo said, hey, wait a second, Shiva, don't touch me. Look how dirty you are. All this ashes over your body. You think I want to be hugged like that? No, sorry. Lord Shiva said, you reject my love. You are such a terrible brother. I'm angry, I will beat you. So Lord Shiva was just about to beat Brigo. Brigo said, sorry, Lord Shiva, it was just a test. It was just a test. So here, he had ignored Brahma. He had insulted Shiva. So the second degree offense was verbal. First degree offense was ignoring. So then he went to Lord Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu was lying on Ananta Shesh. You've all seen the Vishnu on Ananta Shesh, it's very famous. And at his feet is Lakshmi Devi. She's massaging his feet. So Brigo Muni went in there, and Lord Vishnu, he was in Yoga Nidra. He had his eyes closed and he was just like reveling on his pastimes in his meditation. And Brigo Muni stood in front of him. Hey, nobody pay any attention to me here. So he kicked Lord Vishnu on his chest. How is it that you don't give attention to your visitor, eh? Lord Vishnu awoke from his yoga nidra, and he saw Brigo standing there angry. He immediately grabbed Brigo Muni's feet. Said, oh Brigo Muni, sorry for not receiving you appropriately. I hope you have not hurt your soft lotus feet on my hard chest. I hope. Let me give you a massage on your feet. And then Brigo Muni said, sorry, my lord. No. It was just a test. Sorry. So then he went back to the Devas to tell them how Brahma reacted, how Shiva reacted, how Vishnu reacted. And it was finally, for once and forever, resolved, Lord Vishnu is the greatest. Therefore, you should become a Vishnu Bhakta. A Vishnu Bhakta. And Lord Shiva is the greatest of all Vishnu Bhaktas. Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. So, if you can understand that, it's because you have different motivations. If you want to worship somebody else because you want something they have or they offer easily, that's a different story. But if you want to be the devotee of the greatest, you've got to be a devotee of Lord Vishnu. That's what the conclusion of the investigation of Brigo Muni. I mean, that was a great investigation and it has a conclusion. And you better abide by that conclusion. Because if you don't abide by this conclusion, then you lose out. You lose out, you don't get the benefit. Everywhere there is a process, and there's a theory, and there's a practice, and there's a result. And so also there's a science, and that science is clearly given here. That is the science of submission to an authority. And Lord Vishnu is the appropriate authority. He is the Aham Savasya Prabhavo Matasavam Pravatante Iti Matvapajantimam Buddha Bhavasamanvita. I am the source, the original source of all that is mature and all that is spiritual. The wise who know that perfectly, they surrender to me with all their ability. So this is what is our life. Surrender to Vishnu. Accepting him as my guardian, as my shelter. Who else can I take shelter of except the Supreme? Supreme controller, supreme authority. Now, if somebody says there is no supreme authority, then you cannot take shelter. So how do you know there is a supreme authority? Because you can believe it. In your faith, you can believe it. Yes, there's supreme authority, and I believe it, and I surrender to him. And then you start practicing yoga, practicing chanting, practicing studying, offering your food. When you're accepting, there's an authority. It's all about accepting. It's all about believing. You may say, well, is there any proof? Well, for me, every apple is a proof. Every orange is a proof. Every banana is a proof of God, you know. Every breath of air is a proof. Every glass of water is a proof. Every loving, smiling face of other Vaishnavas is a proof. Every class of the Bhagavad Gita is a proof. Every time I take darshan of the deities is a proof. I see plenty of proof because I want to see the proof. My faith is very strong because I see the proof. And it's not that I'm so sentimental or so emotional or so much in despair that I just blindly throw my face into some direction in order to gain some self-esteem or something, or some illusion for some heaven to reach soon. No. I don't know. I think by the grace of Prabhupada we have already some kind of heaven on earth. What he has given to us is quite heavenly. Actually, it's more than heavenly, it's divine. To living in divine association and doing divine service is divine. And therefore, indebted to divinity and grateful for it, we are trying to become Brahmins. A Brahmin is a person who has faith. He has faith in Brahman. Brahman is another name of Vishnu. No? So if you believe that Brahman exists, the underlying divine principle, then you're Brahmin. If you believe that Lord Vishnu is the Lord, then you're Brahmin. If you believe that serving God is the best, then you're Brahmin. If you believe in speaking the truth, then you're Brahmin. If you believe that you should only eat food offered to the Lord, then you're a Brahmin. If you believe that you should read Bhagavad Gita every day, then you're a Brahmin. That's the thing. If you believe it, it's nothing by imposition. It's nothing by obligation. You can't oblige anybody to do anything. And why should you? Why should you try to oblige somebody against his will? God has given us the freedom. He has given us the power of discrimination. He has given you the ability to say, yes, I believe it, or to say, no, I don't believe it. Why? Why the Lord has given us so much freedom? Because He wants free devotees. He wants free, loving devotees. He don't want to have any zombies. He don't want to have any hypnotized devotees who are out of their mind and they just go about and do what the hypnotic dictation is. No. The Lord wants you with all your body, mind and soul. That's what He wants. And He's given you faith to be able to go through with it. He has given you Shraddha. Therefore, Ashraddhananna Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa. That unless you have faith in this process, you will not be able to practice. Now it's up to you to make your questions. I think I've given you tonight a few challenging points here. Authority, submission, enthusiasm, training up for Brahmana. I mean, I've given you quite a few things, no? Let's see what you have to say. Are you ready? Are you ready to go into the training for a Brahmin? Then you should come here every day at least, or try to be connected to some active engagement of this program. Because a Brahmin is involved. A Brahmin has responsibility. A Brahmin is more than a city councillor. Let's say you are a city councillor, but you never go into city hall. What a useless councillor are you? So you have to assume. You have to assume that it means To become a Brahmin means you have to assume responsibility. You have to do service for community. You have to be there when you are required. And not only because you make some money there, no. That's not service. That's business. A Brahmin, he does his service to